Hey, L students, let's do a quick overview. Chapter 18, the life cycle continues. We didn't do an overview for 17. Some of that stuff from 17 was just a carryover from some of the Ed Puzzle videos that we watched, especially the pregnancy and birth. We got a little bit more into child development and infant development. And we didn't do an overview for that, but I wanted to do an overview for Chapter 18, the life cycle continues. Just a little bit about what you're going to learn about here in the next 3 lessons. But life cycle continues. Chapter 18 focuses on adolescence and adulthood, so you get a little bit into puberty, into young adulthood, into college years of the 20s, early 20s, and then into mid 20s, and then young adulthood. Talk about that as well. Okay, so it's going to describe the changes in puberty, the responsibilities of marriage and parenthood, which gets to be a little, kind of fun and interesting. There's actually going to be an assignment where you get a chance to, and we'll talk about those, you get a chance to interview a parent or somebody else that may have been married, is married, or has been married before. So we're going to talk about, again, responsibilities of marriage and parenthood and the transitions that occur during each stage of adulthood. So some pretty interesting information that'll be in there. We'll actually do a couple of videos as well in Chapter 18, so I can walk you through some of those PowerPoints, just some information I think I'd be able to help you out with. So lesson 1 is going to talk about adolescence. Adolescence starts with puberty, the period in which teens begin to develop certain adult traits. During adolescence, teens strive to develop independence and a sense of identity, as well as personal value systems. So we get a little bit into not only the physical development of adolescence, the things that are changing with your body, but also the things that are changing as far as your personality and your emotional development and things like that, as well as personal value, things that you start to find important in your life. Lesson 2 is going to be adulthood. Okay, so lesson 2, adulthood, can be divided into 3 stages: young adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. And we'll talk about each of those stages. During young adulthood, many people decide to get married. Some decide not to, but many decide to get married and become parents. Both marriage and parenthood have important responsibilities, so you're going to talk about that, and that's where down at the bottom we'll get into assignments where you get an opportunity to interview somebody that's been married before, and those are some pretty interesting interviews. It's a fun assignment, and it's interesting, and I get some really interesting answers back. It's always interesting for me to read those because the marriage part of it I get, so I'm married, but the parenthood part of it, I'm not a parent, and sometimes I like to hear some of those challenges and joys that people express about being a parent. So it's kind of interesting. Talks about the important responsibilities that people have as parents, as well as community members. And then lesson 3, during middle adulthood, people generally make contributions to others, such as raising a family or contributing to a community. During late adulthood, most people look back and reflect on their lives and accomplishments. So when you get into the late adulthood phase, it starts to talk about people that are reflecting back on the family that they raised. It talks about being grandparents and enjoying your legacy, so to speak. Legacy, so to speak, is the grandkids living the way that you always hoped or dreamed that they would. So that's the kind of the makeup of each of the lessons from Chapter 18. The life cycle continues. The assignments that you are going to, well, before you get into that, so the only lectures really that you're going to, the only videos that you're going to see in there is right now, the only one I have done at the moment. I likely will make a couple of more. We'll see if I do 18.1, 18.2, and 18.3 as lecture PowerPoints for you. I may do one or two of those. We'll see. I'm not going to do all three of them, but I may do one or two lectures for you. But so far, the one that we have for sure is going to be this one, the lecture overview, but I will be doing some more. Check-in assignments for Chapter 18. You'll have a journal entry on the first day of Chapter 18, 18.1. There'll be a journal discussion and entry that you'll do. Then it'll be the fun assignment on the next day, 18.2. You're going to do a marriage interview. Interview somebody that's been married before. There's just 4 questions that you ask them, but you have to respond to those and submit those back. And then the third day of Chapter 18 is going to be just a quiz. So hopefully Chapter 18 goes well for you. And as always, if you have questions, please contact me. And I'm always kind of reminding you that I'm not going to be doing the conferencing. So if you have things that you need to talk with me about or have any kind of conversation, feel free to call my Google Voice number that we've been set up here too. It's almost like a phone number, but it's just a different number that you call. You can download the app from Google Voice on your iPad, and you can call me from your iPad if you wanted to. Otherwise, send me email, okay? And remember to always check the updates. Hope everything's going well. We miss you here at the high school. Wish we could come back. I don't know if it's looking too good. Talk to you soon.